Hey, this is really wacky stuff. Last night, they did a town hall on NewsNation. The hosts were Chris Cuomo, whose show I was recently on, Bill O'Reilly, the disgraced Fox News host, and Stephen A. Smith, who typically comments on sports but has been dabbling more and more in politics. Trump called into this fiasco, and he was asked about Harvard. And Trump starts talking about Harlem and says he got a high black vote. He doesn't mean, he's not saying that black people had to have been high to vote for him. What he's saying is he got a lot of the black vote. He seems not to even have any idea what's going on.
Mr. President, thank you for your time. It's interesting that you brought up Harvard, because when people think about Harvard, what they're basically talking about is they're asking, what do you say to those who view your actions as an attack on academic freedom rather than a defense of fairness? What do you say to that?
Well, I say this: we had riots in Harlem, in Harlem, and frankly, if you look at what's gone on, and people from Harlem went up and they protested, Stephen, and they protested very strongly against Harvard. They happened to be on my side. You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black.
The blacks had to be high as a kite to vote for me because it didn't make any sense otherwise.
Vote. It was a very great compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. I did opportunity zones for one of the greatest economic deals ever for the black and Hispanic community. I got tremendous. They agree with what I'm doing with respect to Harvard. Harvard gets 4 or 5.
Mr. President.
This is nutty stuff. There were riots in Harlem. Sir, can you weigh in on taking away academic freedom from Harvard? Well, listen, there were riots in Harlem. People were protesting in Harlem, and I got a very high black vote. This is roughly how the entire thing went. And I want to play one other moment for you. This was RFK being asked about, I don't know what he was being asked about, but what he said is that there is aborted fetus debris in the MMR vaccine. Listen to this.
Now, there are populations in our country, like the Mennonites in Texas, who are most afflicted, and they have religious objections to the vaccination because the MMR vaccine contains a lot of aborted fetus debris and DNA particles. So they don't want to take it. So we ought to be able to take care of those populations when they get sick.
Okay, so it's hard to imagine a more deceptive way of explaining the MMR vaccine. Now, the truth is that there are some MMR vaccines that were originally developed using human cell lines derived from 2 specific elective abortions in the 1960s, okay? These cell lines, that's 60 years ago. These cell lines have been replicated in labs synthetically, completely synthetically, for decades. They are not derived from abortions of this century. The vaccine itself has no fetal tissue, it has no fetal cells, and it has no so-called debris. The phrase aborted fetus debris couldn't be less accurate. It's designed to be provocative. There's debris from a fetus in my vaccine, and it suggests to people that there's fetal material in the vaccine, which is, of course, not true. Now, the reality is that any cells used during production of a vaccine are filtered out. Only purified components remain. And they grasp onto some kernel of something. Earlier in the show, we talked about RFK saying the more fluoride you get, the dumber you get. Right. That's based on tests of places with artificially high fluoride naturally occurring in the water. I don't mean artificially is confusing. What I mean is very high levels of fluoride that naturally occur in drinking water. In fluoridated water systems in the United States, we don't use nearly that amount of fluoride. And of course, it's all about dose response. So there's a kernel in there, but completely deceptive. And similarly, this is the kind of misinformation that spreads fear and it undermines public health confidence. The MMR vaccine is safe. It doesn't have fetal tissue. It plays a vital role in preventing serious disease, and measles in little kids can be very, very serious. Unhinged town hall in every way. Hard to put it any other way. Every time we call out Donald Trump's authoritarianism, the right calls it media hysteria. But I want to remind you that Trump admits he's looking for ways to defy the Constitution and maybe even pursue another term. Now, if you don't know the bias behind your news, you might believe, oh, Trump's just teasing us. There's nothing here. Go to ground.news/Pacman and see how media bias influences more than your perception from Trump's policy and ability to understand and undermine constitutional norms. I've been with Ground News for years now because this is what they do. They expose the hidden agendas behind reporting sources and make it easy to compare coverage and understand critical issues. Even better, if I'm reading a story on another site, the Ground News browser extension will flag the source's political bias and give me other reports on the same story so I can verify the information. My viewers get 40% off the same unlimited Vantage plan that I use, so you get their top tier plan for just $5 a month. Go to ground.news/Pacman. The link is in the description, or scan the QR code.